Hi, my name is Marcy. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry that I have been a bit quiet, but well, as you saw in my previous video, which you can check out if you have not seen it, I was getting ready for the Escalade, which is my favorite Swiss, Geneva celebration. So here I am. So it was yesterday and it was awesome. Now, I was getting ready for the Escalade, but I was also following the news, which so when this P Diddy issue came up, I kind of listened to it and thought, okay, fine. It always comes up and then it disappears. I did not expect that it was actually going to get anywhere. Because it never does. It always never does. It's just one of those things that it comes up, one or two people talk about it, and then it disappears. And then he got arrested, and then I was like, interesting. So, for anybody who's been living under a rock and has no idea what I'm talking about, please invite me under your rock because these are things that I wish I did not know. So, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs was arrested. So, he's a hip hop musician. Was arrested for a lot of issues. So anything from having this very crazy parties which involved minors and a lot of essay accusations, and there's really a lot. Now, there are people who've been talking about this for years in the music industry, saying that yes, there's a lot of grooming going on, and these young musicians are not being forced into things that they have no business being forced into, and it's just always been a conversation behind the scenes. But of course, when the Me Too movement started, then people started talking up, speaking up, and now of course the Me Too movement started, and then it kind of died down because nobody was talking about anything, and we thought, oh, okay, so all the big offenders have been caught. But the whole time I kept asking myself, really? Because when you listen to hip hop and rap and all this, the the way women are talked about in those videos, yes, I know that somebody can sing all that crap and not actually do it, because many of them are talking about murdering, they've never murdered anybody, all that. But just the way the women are disrespected in that, I found it quite interesting that none of those people in that world were involved in anything suspicious. So I felt, okay, well, I misunderstood them. But it really, for me, it just felt incomplete, right? Okay. Fast forward, R. Kelly story comes up, and I'm like, aha. But now, by the time the R. Kelly story was coming up, I already had something else in my mind, which is probably what I want to talk about in this video. So Aaliyah's story, we all know it. He married her, and there were all these conversations about age and stuff like that. Of course, her parents consented, so it was fine. It was legal. Something being legal and something being moral are two different things. Something can be legal and immoral, and something can be illegal but moral, and morality and legality are not the same thing, right? So I was like, okay, where are the parents? Because most of these girls that R. Kelly was accused of, they were all girls who were looking to get into the music industry, right? And the problem here was there was a parent, there was a guardian who put them in touch with R. Kelly. Yes, there are some parents who had fought and fought and fought to get their daughters back, but then there were some parents who were okay with whatever happened. And some of these girls went ahead and became musicians. Some of them became successful, like Aaliyah, sadly died very young, but still, But where were the parents? That's the question I kept asking myself. And I thought, okay, fine. The way the first bit of the movie people died down, and now you're on the musicians' angle. So even this one, it's going to reach a place where now parents are going to start being held accountable. Waited, nothing happened. Then now the P. Diddy's part came, and now allegedly Jay-Z is also in the mix. And these musicians keep coming up. And I mean, if they're guilty, all of this is alleged right now because, except for R. Kelly, nobody else has been convicted, right? So if they're guilty, let them get what's coming to them. But my question is, if they're guilty, the parents, I know this sounds, and it probably is, victim blaming, but I'm not blaming the victim. I'm blaming the parents of the victim, because when the victim is in her 20s and stuff like that and has walked into this, there's very little that the parents can do. You as a parent, once your child reaches a certain age, has a government ID, you're not going to start telling your child that, listen, I've heard that the music industry is this way and stuff like that, so I don't want you going there. But when you start hearing girls and boys as young as 11 and 12 years old were being abused, the question comes up that you were sent there by your parent, because your parent, yes, they're supporting your dream and this is the best of the best in the industry, so they're taking you there. But what kind of a parent does not ask questions? And maybe if I found myself as a parent, maybe if I found myself with my child who has way more talent than I know what to do with, I might just make the same mistake. But when you hear every conversation, all these people who are now going on TV, I already have a problem with those people. All these bodyguards and former friend and former collaborators who kept their mouth shut, and then all of a sudden now they have a lot to say. I have a problem with those people too. But apparently it wasn't a secret what goes on in those parties. And yet you had parents who, for the sake of the career of their child, they still allowed for their child to go to these parties. A 13-year-old who's going to a party at this, and you as a parent, you're just okay with that for the sake of your child getting success. Now, that is another angle that I'm really hoping that we are coming to that part, because I need to hear what these parents have to say for themselves. I really do. And I totally understand supporting a child's dream. Totally understand that. But then, isn't our job as parents sometimes to say no? And sometimes, because many times, yes, children do have dreams, and some of them who are actors and singers and everything, they knew what they wanted to do from when they were children. But who is actually benefiting? Most of these child stars, when their lives have gotten messed up and everything, when you hear what they have to say, the parents took all the money. The parents are the ones who enjoyed the success. They did not get anything out of this, They end up broke, they end up in drugs because their parents took everything. Yeah. So most of the time, it's really, I mean, for most of the people that we have seen, it's not really been about the child's success. It's been more about the parent, what the parent can get out of it. And I feel like that is the reason why so many of these parents just ignored all the warning signs and all the everything that was being told. And as a child, of course, if your mother says this is the best person in the industry, who are you to argue? What are you going to say? You're going to say, no, mommy, maybe I've had something, and no. Or, mommy, this person did this to me. How are you going to start having that conversation? And if you go and say it, they will tell you, oh, but maybe that's just an initiation. That's how it works in the music industry. How do you know that is not true when you're 12 years old and 11 years old, and your mother and father are supposed to be the ones protecting you? So, of course, they know what's best for you. And how does a parent just sit back and let that and just not say something, So I'm really hoping that we will reach that side. I really, really want us to reach that side so that I can hear one or two of these parents totally explain the thought process, because I kind of hoped when the earlier movie came out, I hoped that her parents or somebody was from her side was going to say it, but apparently they didn't even like the idea of the movie being released, so they did not comment on it, and it was, yeah, we did not get to hear their version of it. But I'm very curious as to what can actually be the explanation for this. Okay, people, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.